Hey, hi everybody, I'm Liz, coming to you live from Central Maine over on the East Coast. And this workshop is called The Power of Vision and 3 Keys to Mastering Your Results. So really getting exactly what you want out of the effort you're putting in. So just a quick introduction, I'm a single mama to Silas and Henry, ages 6 and 1. And we are currently homeschooling the 1st grade, which is lots of fun. Life here is nonstop Harry Potter, Pokemon, construction trucks. Every time a truck drives by, it's a really big deal. I'm really passionate about my family, my faith, personal development, and the environment. And I believe that when we're living our highest vision, we're lifting up our families, our community, our nation, and the world. So not to mention, we're living in joy ourselves. And if you're on Instagram, that's my handle right at the bottom. Go ahead and follow along. I try and hop on there every Monday and give a little chat. So it's a pretty positive community over there that's growing. All right. Oh dear. Here we go. All right, so here's our intention for this evening is 3 tools to help you achieve your goals, greater clarity on what your goals are and your dreams, and to feel more confident in your ability to go get those things, get what you want, create what you want, be who you want to be. All right, so here's a little story to get us started. Once upon a time, there was a mother mouse, and she was walking through a house with her babies, and she was being really careful, really cautious, and she came around a corner, and there was a cat, and the cat saw her and started stalking towards her and like showing her teeth and, you know, swishing her tail, and the mother mouse goes up on her hind legs as big as she can be and says, ruff, 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 ruff. And the cat gets scared and runs off. And so the mother mouse says to her babies, this, children, is the importance of knowing more than one language. And so that's a cute little story to remind us that it's really important for us to know the language of success. The framework for building a life that we love is a whole way of thinking, a whole mindset. And so we're going to get into that tonight. So how many of you have ever achieved a goal or a dream? Like, yeah. So how many of you have ever achieved something that when you first started taking steps towards it, you had no idea how you were going to get there? Like, how is this going to happen? So, and raise your hand if you have an area of your life that you'd like to improve. So I know I do. So we are capable of way more than we know. Like this little guy. So the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thinking. How you're thinking about things is exactly how things end up working out. If you're thinking lack, if you're thinking I can't, that's what we see in our life. And our goals and our dreams, this is what I've found as I've started speaking with more people, holding more workshops, and getting to know people's goals and dreams. They are born out of our challenges. This year especially has been such a birthplace for dreams for people, because it's like, oh, I thought I could count on this 9 to 5. I thought I could count on this stream of income. I thought I could count on my health. And so many things have fallen apart at the seams this year. I thought I could count on my kids going to school. So this has been a year we've faced challenges, and I want to encourage you to let that be a birthplace for a dream. There are 2 signals for us to grow: our longings and our discontents, the things that we're not happy about in life, and the things that we are longing to be, longing to do, longing to create, things we long to experience. That's what pushes us to grow. If we were just like hunky-dory, happy with everything, we would just stay exactly where we are and we wouldn't be growing. So let's, see, every time I, every time I admit somebody, I have to like readjust my computer. It's funny, but that's fine. I'm like, what? So two essential energies. There's the pain of your problem and the burning desire for what you want. And those are essential for creating new results. So sometimes we look at being dissatisfied or discontent, and we think that's a bad thing. But there's actually there's a Old Testament book. It's not in the Bible. It's a extracurricular book called the Talmud, and it's what the Old Testament rabbis would use to interpret the Old Testament. And in the Talmud, there's a verse that says, every single blade of grass has an angel over it saying, grow, grow, grow. And so that desire for expansion, that desire for more in your life is a spirit-given gift, because life in us wants to expand, wants to grow, wants to see how far we can go. So I just want to, just at the beginning of this chat, put aside the idea that we have to be perfectly happy and content with everything. It's okay to reach for more. No matter how far you get, there will always be more to reach for. So my story, I'm a single mama, and I, with my second child, found out I was pregnant with him, and very shortly after discovered that his dad was seeing somebody else, and that we would not be raising this baby, at least in the same home. He is a great co-parent now, I'll put that out there. But I was devastated, and I fell into this really deep depression through my whole pregnancy, and actually right up through his first birthday. And on the weekend of his first birthday, I was actually in a crisis center because I just literally did not want to do it anymore. I was like, I would spend hours on my kitchen floor, just like sitting there being like, who can take these kids so that I can just check out? And I would like go through people in my church family and my family and just like, who would just take these kids without me even like having to explain anything? And I was just in a really dark place. And so, you know, therapy is a good thing. Therapy's cool. I'll put that out there. And, but I just like, that weekend was a really big awakening for me as far as just like, wow, you're in a really bad place. And what are you going to do about it? And if you fast forward a little bit, I started taking better care of my mental health, got some help with all that. And then I ended up this summer at my dad's, and his wife have a camp. And so his wife, okay, I had been really depressed, sorry, roundabout, but I had been really depressed, and my dad had been supporting me because I had been out of work. And he had been supporting me for a long time at that point. So this summer I was there with my dad and his wife, and she kind of like gets me in the kitchen. And you all know how it is when your stepmom gets you in the kitchen. She wants to say some stuff. And so she basically said to me, you know, your dad would love to retire. What are you going to do? You know, like what is your plan? And I was really like, I don't have a plan, but I was in a better space mentally to be able to be like, okay, what am I going to do? And I actually went home, and this was my big signature moment, was I went home and I got out my phone and I did the math on how much my dad had spent for me to be living in this apartment with that, like paying the rent. And it was well over $20,000 that he had spent over the time I had been there. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is not okay. And the discontent in my life got to a point where I was like, boom, I am doing something. And I actually ended up in a vision workshop exactly like this one. I had like looked for like career help, coaching, something. And I ended up in this exact workshop. And I had this light bulb moment. I ended up going through the Dream Builder program, which these principles come from. And then I ended up working with a coach, and then I ended up becoming a coach. And it was just like this amazing waterfall of activity. But then it's like, here's clients and here's workshops. And it just became like to the point where it's like, now I have a blossoming business and I don't have to worry about being a burden anymore. And so that's my story. And hold on, I have to reawaken my PowerPoint. So I'm going to give as much to you this evening in this hour as I can. And for anybody who this resonates really deeply with, I have a promise for you, a gift for you at the end of this workshop. So just stay tuned. All right, we're going to do a little game. Oh, also, if you don't have a pen and paper, you should get one. But we're going to do a little game on the screen. So I don't know exactly how it looks on your end, but if you have any faces blocking the screen, you're going to want to minimize those. So this is called the numbers exercise. And in a minute, the whole screen is going to be covered with numbers. And I'm going to have you find number 1, number 2, number 3 in order and see how high up you can go. I'm going to give you 30 seconds on my phone. So hold on, you pull that up. And then I'll switch over so that you can see the numbers and I'll give you 30 seconds. So any questions? I can't see the chat, but just, all right. So I don't know if you can unmute yourself, but just shout out if you have a question. So we're just gonna find numbers in order for 30 seconds and then I'll tell you to stop. So, all right, and go. Okay, stop. All right, hold on. Let me pull you up so I can see you better. Oh. All right, so who got to 10? All right, who got to 15? 20. All right, I can only see 6 of you, but I know there's more of you, but oh, here we go. All right, anybody got more than 20? Okay. All right, so we're gonna do it again in a second. Hold on. And I'm gonna give you a little hint on how this works. So we're gonna divide the screen up into 4 sections. Here is 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so there's a pattern here. Goes like this. All right, so with this increased awareness, we are going to try again and see if we do better, okay? All right, and go. And stop. All right, did everybody get better results this time with the knowledge of the pattern? So this is just an exercise to show us that when we know when we expand our awareness of the patterns of how things work, we have better results. So just like that screen had 4 sections, your life has 4 sections. They're your health and well-being, relationships, vocation, and your time and money freedom. And by time and money freedom, what we really mean is after the bills are paid, after your schedule is done, how much time do you have with your family and friends, and how much money do you have in the bank to be, do, give, create the way that you want to? What would you do for your kids? What would you do with your husband or your spouse? Where would you go? All those things are that time and money freedom. What does that mean? All right, so we're going to talk about the results formula. So our results in each of those areas, these areas, are reflected in our life. Like the results that we see reflect our awareness in each of those areas. So here's the results formula. Your thoughts create your feelings. So let's think a thought. Let's think, I have a hot date Friday night. Like that creates a feeling in our body. We're like, yeah, I'm excited. Or I'm gonna go hang out with my girlfriends. That's exciting. Or if you're younger and you're in college, I just aced that test. So there's a thought that creates a physiological response in our body. Same thing with like you're worrying about something. You're thinking, I have so much to do today. I can't get it all done. Blah, blah, blah. Your heart like literally starts to race when you think like that. Or you think like about a scary movie or something that you're worried about, like a car accident or an illness or whatever. It creates a physiological response. So our thoughts all day long are creating our feelings. And our feelings create and are expressed through our actions. Our actions directly line up with how we're feeling. So yesterday I was having the full human experience at home with my boys, and I was just like, this is not a good day. And so that feeling, that tired mom, stressed out mom feeling, is expressed into being quick with my kids, being quick to raise my voice, not getting the things done because I'm busy huffing and puffing about it. So our feelings are being expressed into our actions. In the same way, we can all imitate what it looks like for somebody to feel confident. There's an action, a posture that matches that. So our feelings are being expressed out into our actions, and our actions then go and create our results. So the results that you see are matching up with how your thoughts are creating feelings, how your feelings are creating actions, and your actions are creating results. Thoughts cause feelings, cause actions, cause results. But what happens is that we have been trained throughout our upbringing to look at all the things that are wrong around us and blame them for where we are. Like, I can't meet somebody because I'm too heavy, or because I live out in the middle of nowhere, or because I'm too old, or all the good men are taken, or I can't leave my career because I'll lose my benefits, or I can't do this because of that, because of that. So we call these our becauses. Like, we're looking at our results and saying, I'm acting that way because of this situation. I'm acting this way, I'm feeling this way because of COVID, or how stressful 2020 has been, or whatever. I can't do this because of that outside condition. But really, it's all in our minds. So if you want to know why you have the results you have, you look at your thoughts. Your results never lie. If there is no money in the bank account, your results never lie. They are a reflection of how you are thinking. If you are wishing that you could meet somebody, have a new relationship, whatever it is, your results never lie. They are reflecting your thoughts in that area. So we're going to do a little exercise where we work on tuning our attention. So this is just going to be really quick. I want you to look around whatever the space that you're in, and I want you to find everything that you can that is red. Everything you can see in this space that you're in that's red. Let's look around. Red things. All right. So did you find something red? Probably, because we're looking for it. Did you find anything blue? No, because you were looking for red. So there's like this fancy name for that part of your brain where you will literally shut off. It's like why men can't find anything in the refrigerator. So it's like this part of your brain that shuts off everything that you're looking for except for that one thing. And in the same way, if we are looking for struggle, if we are looking for scarcity, if we are looking for everything that we want and we don't have, we will see, and our results will show that struggle. In the same way, we can look for opportunity, look for circumstances and resources and experiences that will build us, build our businesses, build our ability to experience the life that we want. So this brings us to Dream Builder Principle number 1. Hold on, I'm gonna wake up this thing. Okay, Dream Building Principle number 1 is designing a dream. So when we're working on tuning our attention to find resources and experiences and situations that will help us and build us, we want to be focused on something that's incredibly positive and really lights us up, something that we love. So we want to design a dream. What do you really want? Without a blueprint, you can't build a house. So if you go to a contractor and you're like, I would like a house, he will be like, that's nice. What kind of house? And if you're like, well, a happy house would be good, or I would like a nice house with a door, that will not get you a house from a contractor. They'll be like, well, I need a blueprint. So write this down. Clarity is power. When you know exactly what you want, you are so much more able to go out and get it. So you have each of these 4 areas. Right now, just the way it is right now, you already have results in these areas. And here's the thing, we are co-partners with God in creation of this world. Like, you create babies in your womb, you create dinner. We are all in the act of creation all the time. And you can decide not to build a dream, and you can decide to get in your bed and put the covers over your head. But what you do when you do that is you're still creating. What you're creating is a day in bed with covers over the head. So let's decide to create something amazing, because we're always creating all the time, every day. So in each of these areas, what would I love in my life? So I would really encourage you to write down each of these 4. For the exercise we're going to do today, we're just going to choose one. And you can choose whichever one resonates the most with you. But for the sake of time, we're just going to choose one for today. But I would encourage you to do this exercise with all of them in your spare time. So we want to get really crystal clear about what we would love in the area that you're choosing tonight. So we're going to do an exercise called Time Machine. And we're going to choose one of those areas, and we're going to dream like a little kid. So just like when you were a little kid, one day you were Princess Belle, one day you were Ariel, one day you were a plumber, one day you were a chef. Like, there was no limit on what you could be and what you could do when you were a little kid. In the same way, that's how we're going to put on our imagination tonight, because you really can do and be and create anything you want as long as you believe you can. So before we get started, so there's my little 2-minute marker, but we're going to stay here. So Howard Thurman was a friend of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he has a famous quote that says, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is people who have come alive." So that's what we're talking about tonight. This is not what your church thinks you should do. This is not even what your husband thinks you should do, or your parents think you should do, or your friends think. If this is crazy, I had this talk with this client the other day who was like, every time I do this vision exercise, I have this big thing that comes up, but I can't even bring myself to write it down because it seems too big. We play small all the time. Don't play small. You don't have to read this to anybody. This is just for you. And don't play small, okay? You can do anything. Write down the big thing that comes to mind. So when we do time machine, we're going to pretend that we are going in the time machine 3 years in the future. So it's October 8, 2023. Should not be hard math, but 2023. And we are going to put the how on hold. Do not worry about how you are going to get to where you want to be. And we're going to start writing what we want, what we would love. And we're going to start that paragraph with, I am so happy and grateful now that, just like you're telling us at our 3-year reunion, we're getting the same group together, we're all coming back, it's a reunion, and you're telling us what your life is like now. And I want you to write in present tense. So I am this, I have this, I am experiencing this. And I want you to try, to the best of your ability, to write it like you can feel it, like you're getting a yes factor from it. All right. Do we have any questions before we jump in? I can't see the chat. Oh yes, I can if I go up here. Any questions? Okay. All right, I'm gonna set a timer and we're gonna do 2 minutes. And I just want you to put this on like you're putting on your plumber outfit when you were 5 and you're like, I am a plumber. You can believe in yourself at the same level that you did when you were a little kid. All right, get started. Thirty seconds. All right. All right, there's your time. All right, I hope that was really like an awesome experience for you. When you can really dig deep into that and really write without limiting yourself, it can be really liberating. And I really encourage you, when you have the time, whatever the other 3 quadrants were that you didn't write about, dive into those too. I have this funny example for myself because for the health and well-being, you know, I'm a plexus lover too, and I really believe that we have, like, there's symptoms and then there's no symptoms, and there's this whole world of like, I don't have symptoms anymore, but I can just get stronger and better and better, and that can go on for a long ways. And so in my health quadrant, one of my dreams is swimming with whales. There's this group that does these trips out to like the Indian Ocean, and they are there and they swim with whales, and I have a really bad shoulder, and so that's a scary thing for me is swimming. But so just dream as big as you want to dream in each of those quadrants. All right, wake up computer. All right, so your results are not happening to you, they are happening with you. So if you match the energy, the feeling tone that you get when you think about yourself living that life, that vision, that's a feeling that you want to memorize. When you are writing that out, when you're feeling that, memorize that energy. Because just like you can change the channel on your television, or you can change the radio dial, or you can call, if you call Emily, you're not expecting to get Stephanie, you're expecting to get Emily. So in the same way, when you dial your energy to the vision that you have and you start showing up as that person, you start to see different results, just like when you change the channel. It's kind of an old-fashioned example nowadays, but still. You change the channel, you go from constantly negative news, CNN, to the Home and Garden Network, or whatever it is that you want to be seeing in your life. You change the channel to that. Which brings us to how do we observe what is going on with our thoughts? Because sometimes it gets really foggy in there. It's just what am I thinking about money? What am I thinking about my health? What am I thinking about my relationships? So this is just a really quick exercise where we notice what we're noticing. So just gonna observe our body for a second. Notice your feet. Notice that you're noticing your feet. Notice your legs and your ankles. Notice your knees. Notice that you can notice your knees. Notice your legs and your bottom in your chair. Notice your belly and your breath. Notice your chest and your shoulders and the front of your arms down to your forearms, out through your fingers. Notice your neck, the front and back of your neck, the feeling of your hair. Notice your chin and your nose, your right cheek and your left cheek, your forehead. Notice the top of your head and your eyes. You have a body, but you are not your body. In the same way, we can notice our thoughts. What am I thinking? What have I been programmed through my whole life to think? And as those things come up, you have thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. In the same way, if I lose my hand, I don't say if I lost me, I say I lost my hand. In the same way, you can take a thought and say, this thought does not serve me anymore. This thought has gotten me to where I am. It has kept me alive. It has served me to where I am now. But I can take this thought and I can say, I'm going to replace you with a thought that moves me towards this vision that I love so much. All right, this brings us to dream building principle number 2, which is deciding for your dream. This is Bob Proctor, and he says there's a single mental move you can make, which in a millisecond will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter, and it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. We have a name for this magic mental activity. It is called decision. Hold on, back up. So the book Think and Grow Rich is written by Napoleon Hill, and he made the observation when he was interviewing the most successful people at the time. I think it was the 30s that he wrote it, but he was literally given a job by Andrew Carnegie to go and interview every successful person in the world, basically. And one of the things that he observed is that successful people make decisions quickly and change them seldom. And people who struggle with success struggle with decision. So sometimes we come up with a dream and we're like, I didn't really want that. We don't want to do that. We say, there's a reason that dream is there. That dream is there to serve you, serve your family, serve your community, serve our nation. That dream is spirit given. So don't write it off. All right, so this is a really cute story about a man who went to the bank and he had a check for a whole lot of money. And he went up to the teller and he said, I would like to cash this check. And the teller said, that's great. Please put your name on it and I will give you the money. And hand it back to me, I'll give you the money. And the man said, put my name on it and hand it to you? I can't do that. You'll take my money. And the teller's like, no, this is banking policy. You have to sign the check. Then I cash it. Then you walk away with your money. And they went back and forth and back and forth. And the man wouldn't cash the check. And finally, the teller just said, you got to go then because I can't do anything for you. So he went to the next bank and they went through the same thing. Sign the check. I can't do that. You need to do that. And then it went back and forth. And so the man went to a third bank, went up to the teller. It was this young guy, said, I'd like to cash this check. And the teller said, you need to sign the check and then I'll cash it for you. And he said, I can't sign it. You'll take my money. I can't just give it to you. And they went back and forth and back and forth. And the young guy was getting really fed up with this man. And he's like, sign the check. And the man's like, I can't. So the teller reaches under the teller cage and pulls out a rubber baseball bat and reaches over and bops the guy on the head and says, sign the damn check. And the man says, oh, okay, and signs the check and gets his money and leaves the bank. And so he goes back to the first bank and he says, look, I got my money. And the bank teller says, yeah, but did you sign the check? And he's like, oh, I did, but nobody ever explained it to me like they did. And sometimes that's our story. You know, we go to the teller of life and we say, this is my dream, please give me my dream. And the teller of life says, sign your name to it, call your shot, take what's yours. And we're like, but the economy but COVID but it's 2020 and everything's awful. And it's really easy to be like, I can't do this because of all these outside circumstances. But the teller of life, there are rules. You cannot have it if you don't sign your name to it. Make the decision for it. So if you can read this, this is just a cute little brain game where it says, according to research at Stanford University, it doesn't matter what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be in the right place. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. So in the same way for us, we don't need to know every step of the way to make that decision for our dream. Sometimes it's like we're getting in the car and sitting in the driveway and expecting every light between here and the grocery store to be green before we get out of the driveway. But we need to know where we are and where we want to get to. That's all we need to know. We don't need to know every step in the process. So this is Judy's story. I'm going to tell it to you really quick. Judy was a woman who was a client of another coach that I worked with, and she was really struggling. She was a single mom. She had a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. She worked all day long at a fast food restaurant, and then in the evening she did alterations. And Judy was really frustrated with coming up short. She had a lot of longing and discontent. And she ended up in a vision workshop and ended up signing up to work with a coach through the Dream Builder program. And she had this really great dream that she wanted to own a home for her kids. And so her coach had her really blueprint out, be really clear about her dream. What is it that you want? So she was like, I want a 3-bedroom house so we can all have our own rooms. They were all in a little 1-bedroom place at the time. We can all have our own rooms. I want to be able to have a fenced in yard so we can have a dog. I want a window over the sink, so when I'm doing dishes, I can look out the window. I want an arched doorway. She just had a whole list of different things. And she said, this just makes me even more sad because I can't possibly have this. I'm paying $500 a month right now for rent, and I just I can't have this. There's no way I can make this happen. And so the coach said, yeah, with that attitude, you can't make it happen. But if you believed it was possible, what would you be doing right now? And Judy said, well, I guess I'd be out looking for the house. And so she went out and looked for the house, and she came back and she's like, I found this home. It's rent to own, and it's beautiful, and it's $900 a month. And there's no way I can afford $900 a month. And the coach said, well, with that attitude, no, you can't. But what would you do if you didn't think it was impossible? And Judy said, well, maybe I could write to the landlord. And so she wrote a letter to the landlord. And the house that she had found needed a lot of work. It was like a dirt yard, and it needed some paint and needed some touch-ups. And so she listed in her letter 40 things that she would do to improve the home if he would rent it to her for $500 a month. And she put it in an envelope, and she went to her mailbox and she mailed it, and she said, this or something better, and kind of held that with an open hand. And so about a week later, she heard from the landlord, and he said, I don't know why I'm calling you, but there's something about your letter that's just sticking with me, and I've decided that I'll rent the house to you for $500 a month, but we'll contract the work that you will do. I'll provide the materials, and you do the work quarterly. We'll contract that out. And so she called her coach, and she's like, we're moving into my dream house in 30 days. And she moved. But the best thing about that isn't that she moved. It's also that 3 years later, she owned that home, which is amazing. But then also just who she became in the process. It's not just about the material things that we accumulate by success. We become different people. We become people who believe in ourselves, believe in others, and believe in spirit more than we did when we started. So you must decide. You literally cannot get there without a decision to get there. And this brings us to dream building principle number 3, befriending your fear. So when we make a decision for our dream, it can feel like this, like, yeah, this guy, he's so cute. But it can also feel like this, like, what did I just do? Why do I have to do this? And we often have the feeling, what if I fail? So every single one of us started our lives as a non-walker. We learned how to roll over, we learned how to scoot around and sit up and how to crawl. And then at some point we saw our siblings or our parents or whoever around us walking around on their hind legs. And we're like, I want to do that. What are you doing there? And it can be a little scary for those first couple steps, and babies fall down and then they get back up. And at no point did any single one of you say, I guess walking's just not for me. I'm going to stick with crawling for the rest of my life. We all kept getting back up. So great dream builders are willing to fail and rise again. Oprah Winfrey was fired by TV executives because she was not fit for television. Steven Spielberg was rejected from USC Film School 3 times. J.K. Rowling's first Harry Potter novel was rejected from 12 publishing houses. And Bruce Springsteen was fired from his band because he couldn't sing. Henry Ford failed at 3 different businesses before starting Ford Motor Company at age 53. Fear and failure are prerequisites for achieving dreams. So just like in high school or in college, you couldn't take biology 2 until you took biology 1. That's a prerequisite. You cannot do great dreams without passing through fear and failure. You can't get there from here. So when fear arises, what can you do? So reconnect to your dream. So remember what I said about memorizing the feeling that you get when you fully write out your vision. You want to write it out so it's powerful for you. Write it out so that you can see yourself living it. And then reconnect with that dream when you are afraid or when you face failure. Yesterday when I was having my full human experience day with my kids and I was grumpy and yelling, and it's like, this is what I had to do. I was like, this is not the woman that I'm moving towards being. This is, it's all about becoming. We're all on this upward spiral of becoming, and we will have bad days and good days, but you always can reconnect with who do I want to be and what do I want to do. And then we ground that energy, we get all hyped up, and then it's like, okay, let's ground this energy. What is one action I can take that would move me in the direction of my dream today? What can I do today? And it can be a baby step, because baby steps will take you up Mount Everest. Baby steps will take you to Plexus Diamond. Baby steps will get you wherever you want to go if you just keep taking them. All right, so here's what we've covered. Principle 1 is designing your dream. Principle 2 is deciding for your dream, making that decision. And principle 3 is befriending your fear. So here's my free gift to you that I promised at the beginning. If any of you, this really resonated deeply with you and you would like to chat more about it, I offer free strategy sessions on the phone with me. We'd get really clear about where you are now, where you want to go, and steps to get you there. And the reason that I get on the phone with my schedule, I work with clients, I work with workshops like this one, the reason I get on the phone and want to talk to you about your dream is because you are a spiritual being and your dream is a gift to this world. And I want to help you to achieve that. So, sorry, here's this. This is my email address, so I'll leave that there for a second. Just put strategy session in the subject line. I would love to chat with you. I love hearing people's dreams, and it's so amazing how unique we all are, and Spirit has given us the areas that we care about, the families that we have, so that we can make an impact on this world for good. All right, so whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Because boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So go get your dreams. And that, my friends, is what I have to share tonight. It's been a privilege.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm trying to figure out how to, here we go. Okay. Thank you so much for just pouring into everybody and opening up their minds to things that maybe they forgot or they didn't realize they even wanted. I don't know about y'all, I have 3 pages of notes, and I'm really excited for the rest of your teams. A lot of these people watching are my leaders. So for your teams to get this information, for you guys to go and apply this stuff to your businesses and to your lives. That's the moneymaker, is applying what you've learned. And some of these things you've heard before. Some of these things were probably a little smack around tonight, yeah? A little tough love, because you know that you're worth more and that your dreams are very possible. Liz, I did not know that you were a single mom, so I got to hear about you too, so that's really cool, and just to see what you're doing and what you are turning around in your life. So I think it's awesome. Did anybody have any questions or maybe like an aha moment that you'd like to share before we wrap this up? When you were talking about, where are we going to be October 8th, 2023, I wrote down, which I like to lead from the front and show my team that I participated. But I want to share with you guys what I wrote down because I feel like there's accountability in that. And a lot of you mentioned or messaged me while she was talking that, man, if I could just get over fear, if I could just get over that blockage of fear. And the first thing that kept coming to mind is fear is a liar. And so I just kept telling myself that because sometimes I feel silly when I think futuristically. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, is that really going to happen? Like my realist side comes out, right? But I wrote it down and I participated. And this is, I met with the mindset coach. I met with Preston Pugmire in 2018. And just, he asked me questions like this. And I was like, ew, like, I don't want to do this. And then I did it. And I'm like, look what's happened, you guys. I went diamond. I re-entered. My husband's an emerald. Like all these amazing things in my business has happened because I had that blockage. So I digress. This is what I wrote down when you asked us to talk to ourselves in the future. So I said, and I actually focused on relationships out of the 4 quadrant because I've had some really crappy friendships that have ended recently. And so when you were like, one of these will stick out to you, for me, it was relationships because apparently loyalty is like a big deal. And so I wrote down lasting friendship. In October of 2023, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have focused on what truly matters and who truly matters. I have finished my book and I made Amazon's top author list or upcomers list. I'm experiencing full contentment with sharing God's calling with others through my novel. And I've been invited to be on 2 radio shows. And now I'm working on a TED Talk. And I just thought that was really cool to like write down. I think I've only ever shared that with Jessica. And Jessica's like, I think I've only ever shared that with her before, but it sounds so silly sometimes. I remember being an 8-year-old singing Britney Spears in my bathroom with a hairbrush thinking I could be Britney Spears. Like, why can't we be our 8-year-old self sometimes? And then Liz, you said something, you know, sometimes we prevent from going there because of something that's happened. So maybe it is your 8-year-old self that's stepping in and trying to protect you, and you just need to tell her to step aside because you have some places to be. But yeah, and I also wrote down Scott is now a Plexus Diamond as well as 20 others on our team. And that just really excited me. Like, I don't know if y'all saw me writing, but I was so excited to write that down. And so Liz, thank you. Thank you for giving us that example and that idea. And this workshop was super fun. I did not know what to expect. I asked Liz like 2 nights ago, I'm like, so what are you going to do? Because I'm like, I know it doesn't. But I really, really, really liked this. I hope you guys follow her on Instagram. And if you do want to work with her on your mind and coaching through your business, there's nothing wrong with that. Just like I tell everyone to go to counseling, it's kind of the same thing as business counseling. So totally would recommend it. But if you guys don't have any questions,
I just want to share one more thing.
Yes, so, please.
Like when you were saying like that it feels funny to like write down things for the future. So there's this quote from the school that I got certified in that's like everything was a thought before it was a thing. So literally like your bed, your table, your chairs, you know, everything was a thought before it was an actual thing. So unless you think it, unless you claim it, it's not going to happen. It's like, I want to be successful, but I don't even know what that looks like. So it can't happen. You have to lay down, what is that? Like, even when, you know, Book of Genesis, like God said, let there be light. And then there was light, you know? So we're just co-creating everything that is happening. This dinner was a thought before it was a thing. So yeah, it feels funny at first, but then once you start doing it, it gets addictive. Like
it's so true though. Like it just, for instance, Plexus people, hello. Once upon a time, you read a Facebook post, you saw an Instagram story, and you thought to yourself, man, I wish I could feel better. It was a thought. It was a wish, right? It was hope. And you took action because you purchased something to help you feel better based off of the thoughts of watching other people and thinking about like, okay, if it can do that for her, maybe it can do it for me, and so on and so forth. So it is so true. And I used to think about my free car, my Plexus Lexus. Like I obsessed over it. And if you listen to millionaires and like their podcasts, and you read their books, and like almost everything they talk about is being obsessed with their routines and being obsessed with their plan to get their routine accomplished, to get to that dream. And that was me. Like, I don't know about you guys, there's something that you're obsessed with right now. Hopefully it's a healthy obsession, but like for me, it was that plexus. Like, I needed a vehicle. We had one car, Scott used it for work. I wanted a vehicle, and it was that thing. And like, I would go test drive them. We would make dream boards, like whether you did it on an app or like cut out pictures in magazines, but like I was obsessed. And at the time it felt like I was in like an English or language arts class in high school, because I'm like cutting out magazine pictures. Yeah. But I got my Lexus in 8 months, which was like unheard of at the time. And like now here we are, we get a guy in our company, Liz, go emerald in 35 days. And he is very young. He had 42 cents or $42 in his bank account when he joined. People had to help him enroll. He was living in a broken down trailer behind the pastor's house at the church, because that's all they could offer him. And now he is a founder of Mexico in our company, one of the youngest ever. And it's just like remarkable. So our team a couple months ago just started saying, well, if Jesus can do it, so can I. If he can do it, so can I. Like, what's the difference? And his was just what you were saying. He thought about it, and those thoughts were becoming realities. And he shared those thoughts. I mean, honestly, that's what it was. He started talking about those thoughts out loud. And I think sometimes we get scared of social media and sharing this, because you're holding yourself accountable when you talk about it, because what if you fail or don't achieve that, or if it takes you too long, whatever that means. And it's like, I don't know. I had like some whooshes of brain excitement tonight, and I hope you guys did too. Lots of full circle things. In the chat, some people said, my success does not define me. My definition defines my success. Love that, Taryn. And it is that was my aha moment when I met with my first life coach ever. And it was the going down the rabbit hole of success and what I thought my success meant to me, and going up the rabbit hole and discovering like I can be happy right now. I won't be happy when I'm reached my goal. Like, I'm happy now. And so totally love that. And Jessica said she was repeating Judy's story, this or something better. So good. I feel like that's going to make like one of the cutest tattoos ever on one of you guys.
Yes.
This or something better. Jessica's like claiming it. But anyways, thank you so much. Thank you for these aha moments. You guys go follow her. I tagged you on Instagram already. That's why I was taking pictures. So I was like, look at her go, look at her do the thing. But this was great. This was so interesting. I honestly didn't know where you're going to go with it, but I'm here for it. And this was awesome. And my brain is excited and my heart is full, and watching them take notes and share with me is like what leader dreams are made of. So I appreciate it. Do you guys want to say anything? Anybody? Usually we share wins at the end of these Zoom.